Thanks for watching The Chitlin Circuit.
Does anyone else get goosebumps when the Marvel logo starts? Falcon and the Winter Soldier begins with Sam ironing his suit on what looks like the day of Tony Stark's funeral, the same day Captain America handed him his shield to carry on his mantle. We hear sounds of old Cap passing the baton to Falcon from their conversation in Endgame.
How does it feel? Like it's someone else's. It isn't.
Sam still feels unsure about taking the mantle of Captain America. We see Sam being briefed on a military plane. He's on a covert op to rescue a doctor from a terrorist group known as LAF. Sam was a fugitive of the government after violating the Sokovia Accords in Civil War. But after helping to save the universe from Thanos, all seems to be forgiven. Sam has been working with the Air Force for 6 months. In order to complete the mission without causing an international incident, Sam uses all of his fighting skills and his sidekick Red Wing to retrieve the kidnapped doctor without alerting any foreign powers and crossing into Libyan airspace. Former UFC champion George St. Pierre makes his reappearance in the MCU. We saw him go one-on-one with Cap in The Winter Soldier, and now we see how Falcon's fighting style compares to Steve. GSP ultimately gets the upper hand. GSP escapes the exploding helicopter, and I doubt this is the last time we'll see him. In Tunisia, Sam sits at a restaurant repairing Red Wing while meeting with one of his contacts who is monitoring terrorist chatter for him. But the agent informs us of another terrorist group who prefer life after the snap.
Call themselves flag smashers.
Apparently, there are also conspiracy theories. Captain America is on a secret base on the moon.
You didn't fly him to the moon? No.
Clearly, the world is still looking for Captain America as a symbol of hope. Sam leaves and Torres offers to pay for his meal. A small detail, but as we learn throughout the episode, Sam isn't in the best financial position despite being an Avenger. Sam heads to Washington, D.C., where he forfeits Captain America's shield to the Smithsonian Institute. Rhodey is in the audience for the ceremony and pulls Sam aside.
Why didn't you take up the mantle?
Rhodey insists that the world is broken and everyone is looking for a new hero to fix it. We see a flashback from one of Bucky's Winter Soldier assassinations in the form of a nightmare. Bucky was pardoned by the government for his past crimes and is required to attend therapy as a condition of his pardon. In his therapy session, we learn that he is trying to make amends for his past actions. He has a list of names, people who either profited or were hurt from his Winter Soldier missions. Bucky has 3 rules he must follow to remain pardoned. Rule number 1, nothing illegal. Rule number 2, nobody gets hurt. And rule number 3,
I am no longer the Winter Soldier. I am James Bucky Barnes, and you're part of my efforts to make amends.
This is like AA for killers. The therapist does a great job of breaking down Bucky and his issues. He's alone, has been ignoring texts from Sam, and hasn't felt calm except for a small reprieve in Wakanda. After therapy, we see Bucky spending time with Mr. Nakashima. The kindly old man also notices how lonely Bucky is and interjects himself into the situation, asking out a waitress on his behalf. At the restaurant, we find out Mr. Nakashima's son died mysteriously. Bucky killed his son and is spending time with the dad to mask his guilt. We catch up with Sam and see his family for the first time. His nephew calls him Uncle Sam, which his sister gets a kick out of. Sam's sister Sarah wants to sell their parents' boat due to the financial hardships. Sam is against the idea, but Sarah insists that he cannot understand what she had to deal with during the blip. Sam offers to try and help them with their financial problems using his celebrity status. Back in Brooklyn, Bucky shows up to his date at the restaurant with the waitress. They end up playing Battleship as a drinking game, which actually looks like fun. She makes a joke about reading his mind, and you can tell the whole subject of mind altering is triggering for Bucky. The topic of Mr. Nakashima's son comes up again, and Bucky is unable to continue the date due to his guilt and immediately heads to Mr. Nakashima's place. He knocks on his door, and you can tell he wants to confess, but ultimately he can't, and plays it off as he came by just to pay him back for lunch. In Switzerland, Torres is tracking a flag snatchers meetup. We see their leader, who has superhuman strength. He kicks a police officer almost a block away, and when Torres tries to apprehend him, he is decimated, left with a broken orbital bone. Back in the US, Sam and Sarah head to the bank for a meeting with a loan agent. They're declined due to Sam's lack of income over the past 5 years. How am I supposed to make money if I don't exist, bruh? The lender states how these days the loan requirements have tightened up since everyone's returned from the blip. Before, they would have easily qualified for an SBA loan. That doesn't stop him from trying to get a selfie with Falcon though. Sam connects with Torres, who shows him the footage of the leader, and his crazy strength. Sam and Torres don't explicitly say it, but could this person have taken a version of the super soldier serum? The closing scene of the episode, we see the government announcing a new Captain America. What the fuck? Who's this nigga? They gave him the shield from the Smithsonian and everything. This was a gut punch to Sam, who you can see is visibly upset. He wasn't ready to take on the mantle himself, but there's no way he's happy with the stranger taking the shield Steve Rogers made famous. Okay, so what just happened? Though billions of people were restored by the Avengers, life has not gone back to normal. The governments are in shambles and everyone is looking for someone to make sense of it all. Sam is working as a contractor for the Air Force. He was given the shield by Steve Rogers, but chose to turn it into the Smithsonian to honor his legacy, rather than try and replace him as Captain America. Meanwhile, Bucky is trying to make amends for his time as the Winter Soldier and has a list of wrongs he needs to right. He befriends the father of a son he killed on one of his missions. Our two main characters have yet to converge, but will one of the names on Bucky's list coincide with a mission Sam takes on? And finally, this new Captain America ain't it. In the comic books, this character is John Walker, aka US Agent. That's it for the season premiere of Falcon and Winter Soldier. What did you think of the episode? Will this show live up to or even surpass WandaVision? Let us know what you think will happen in the comments. And check out our video about the future of Monica Rambeau in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Thanks for watching the Chitlin Circuit.